Are we going?
We're going. So
I'm Al Lowe.
Oh, sorry.
And who the hell are you?
Hi, I'm Al Lowe. I should say this to the camera, though.
Sure, whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do.
Hi, I'm Al Lowe, and for 16 years, I designed and wrote and programmed and coded music and various other things for Sierra Online. Back in the 1980s and 90s, I started in 1982. I was employee number 20. And by the time I left, Sierra had about 1,200 employees. Shortly after that, they had 20 employees again, but that wasn't my fault. I can't help that. But anyway, I hope hope you enjoy this trip down memory lane while I walk through my attic and find some things that nobody has seen, including me, in 30 years.
Snake bite.
Oh my God! Did I waste my life?
Is that
with
the old
game?
snake game?
It's a snake game,
Okay.
but well, you can see. Look at the grease where my thumb put it in and out. Because every time you died, you had to take it out of the disk of the computer and start over.
Oh, really?
Put it back in and restart the computer.
Huh.
So and you couldn't save a game. So every game you started level 1, and you kept getting harder and harder. And I got to the point where it would take me half an hour or more to play one game, and you always lost.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
That's very roguelike now.
oh yeah. Who has that anymore? What about Bop a Bit?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this, but
Well,
it has your logo on there.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and pop it out.
What about this?
That's an envelope.
But that's my high scores on Snakebite. And the dates that I achieved them. So this actually should have that other disc.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Is the source code actually out there in some digital form, do you think? Where people can actually look and see how the games were programmed? Or is this the only way if someone wanted to go in and sort of see how those games were made? Or would you decompile it? Or I'm kind of trying to figure out like...
all the games were written in regular old ASCII text. Everything was ASCII.
Really?
Everything was done with a text editor.
Huh.
Then we had various utilities that turned that text into a intermediate code, an interpreted code. And then the game shipped with a program, an executable, that could read that intermediate code. And there's a name for that I cannot remember right now. And it'll come to me later, I guess, when I can. But anyway, so the games were written and then compiled. The compiling turned it into intermediate code, and then the interpreter would read that and play the game.
Interesting. So for instance, if I on screen, if I want to show this code here, it would be in ASCII. Like
It's a text file. You put it in Notepad. You just.
And this would be written on Apple at the time.
What game? No, PC.
Okay.
Actually, this was written on a PC Junior. This one might have been. We had gotten up to XTs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I know. Yeah, but the original AGI interpreter was written for the PC Junior, and it had 16 colors. And at the time, you couldn't have a PC, a full-fledged IBM PC, that had 16 colors. They only had 4 colors, and plus black and white, and that was only with a real rare graphics card. It wasn't until around the time of Larry 1 and some of the King's Quest 3 maybe that you could get a EGA card for your PC that produced 16 colors. And the first EGA card I got was this big, filled up an entire slot inside the computer frame, and cost me $600, and it had 16 colors. Yeah.
A lot of money per color.
Yeah.
All right. So I think these three I want We're gonna
And what are these?
Donald Duck's Playground is pretty cool. And
Yeah.
Maybe what we should do is just show all of these because we
We'll talk
that they're
about these
source
three.
code.
We'll show these.
Oh, we have put 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Okay, I'll talk about the ones over here.
So
What's that say? I can't read.
Winnie. That's Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, now that's Apple II. Yeah, see, because it still says Sunnyside Soft on it. Good Lord, I was using Apple computer boxes. Look at that. Where the hell did I get those? Oh, here.
Okay, so you actually.
You may not be able You may not be able to read these. I think this was done. Does it say what it is there?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it looks like you've labeled all the discs. So, latest versions, but then you have. So you've broken the game out into a bunch of different like.
And I saved it onto Disney discs because we had too many of them, I guess.
Well, being $5 a piece to buy new ones, you're trying to save some money. Apple. Okay, so disc 8 is the source code, and then the backside is the utility programs.
Oh yeah, and you can tell these are double-sided discs because I cut a hole in them.
Right. So now, what is the COM game source? What would be the difference between, for instance, like the? Oh, that's Commodore. So you had so you had the Commodore 64, or was it VIC 20 or
No,
was it-
COM64 and Apple II.
I see. Yeah, so you had different kind of like
Well,
for different gold masters or something. Or,
this was all the source material that I used to,
Yeah.
So if you would put all this on your computer, then you could build a game out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool that you did this for that one. Helps 30 years later.
30, more than 30. What year is that? Has it got a date on it?
No.
Well, if I was still doing Commodore and Apple II, it would have been 1983, I'm going to say. So that's 35 years old.
Yeah.
And who's going to tell you you're wrong?
Well, nobody. The files might have a date on them. No, I don't think so. I don't think the computer had a calendar back then, did it? Did the Apple II have a calendar?
I've never seen this before. This is. It says Sierra Online on it.
This is the cult classic, Troll's Tale.
Okay.
For the Apple II, I think. And it was the third game I wrote. It used the same engine. This is how geek I was, man. When I started, I thought, well, I'm going to do more than one adventure game like this, so I'll create an engine and a database manager so I can just type in multiple games and have them write themselves.
Oh, interesting.
So I actually created the tools first and then wrote the games with the tools.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this an educational title then? It's Junior
Yeah.
Adventure? It is. Okay.
Yeah, these were all educational products.
Wow, and that box too. Like this, Sierra didn't use this for very long, did they?
No, that was that would have been 83, maybe.
Yeah.
What's the date on it? Has it got a date?
Is it expensive to? Is that why they shifted, or 84?
84. Yeah.
Huh. That's cool. Okay. Dragon's Keep. First of all,
This was the first game I ever wrote.
Okay.
This was an adventure game that made use of the space bar to go between 3 choices and the enter key to choose. Or you could use the joystick and press a button. Nobody had a mouse. There were no mice back then. This was written for the Apple II in 1982, and
you won an award.
It won an award. Well, I didn't even know that. Yeah, probably true. But you can get a look at some of the graphics on the back. You don't see graphics like that anymore.
No adult supervision required. Although that was not your.
That actually became a trademark of mine. Was no adult supervision.
Sounds like a plea for help and a direction.
Okay.
This is extremely rare.
So
This is a game nobody's seen.
let me tell you that there's.
Have you seen it?
There's a bit of a debate because I took a picture of this, shared on Facebook, and people were like, no, that's the Dark Crystal. I'm like,
No. It's uses the same graphics as the Dark Crystal. we didn't have to redraw the pictures, but I made the game using that interpreter that I was telling you about that I built, so that it was multiple choice questions for little kids. But here, look at the pictures on the back. See?
Yeah, this is extremely rare.
Gelfling Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, characters in the Dark Crystal were Gelflings, but see, we shipped it with a map.
Look like Gelfling? Not like Gelfling. Must be Gelfling.
Not made of cloth like Richard Garriott's map.
Right, like Ultima's.
Yeah, but no disc. I don't know where the disc is.
Well,
I'll find it. I got it someplace, I'm sure. I keep everything.
Well, okay, so you wrote that.
No, Roberta Williams designed and wrote it. I edited her writing,
I see.
corrected her spelling and grammar and punctuation.
Kind of like an editor, basically.
Yeah, I edited.
Yeah.
And I was lead programmer on that. Bob Heitman and I programmed it. We sat in a little office for month after month after month. Bob, at that time, was a heavy smoker, and I went through a lot of contact lenses.
Wow, that's a beautiful box on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more.
Okay, so I'm curious about these. Why do you have those in the box there?
These are hint books.
Right, but do you have some sort of association with them? I mean...
Oh, I created them. Yeah.
You look so worried.
Trying to tee you up here.
Nobody remembers
I'm
this?
teasing you up. I'm giving you the softball here. I'm giving you the softball. I know.
When, let's see, how can I say this most succinctly? Ken Williams had learned on late night television about 900 numbers. How's that? Is that subtle
How
enough?
delicate. Well done, Al.
And thought, boy, instead of all these people calling us and costing me money to call our phone lines and have people, why don't we have a 900 number where they can call and get hints? Because people need hints. And so he set up a 900 number. And I found hint books to be more helpful. I used them for Zork and, all the Infocom games and stuff that had. And so I said, Ken, you should publish hint books. Why don't you do hint books? And he said, no, that's a loser. That's no. We got the 900 number. And I said, well, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'll write hint books for the games. And he said, all right. Well, he said, I'll tell you what, if you write them, I'll publish them and distribute them, and we'll split the money. And I said, you mean like a 50% royalty? And he said, yeah, sure, that's fair. I was like, okay. So on a $5 hint book, I would get like $1 or something. On a game, I would get like $1. So the game was 40 times as much. But so anyway, I ended up writing a flock of hint books for Sierra, and actually started that whole trend. And I forget where I came up with the idea of the magic marker to do but I think when I was a little kid, I had some games that were that way, and I thought, well, that's a good way, and it's fun. And so you got a marking pen, and you could, and then later on, we got a sheet of celluloid or some kind of filter material, and you would just slide this down, and it would erase the red, and you could see the.
Well, so what you're saying is that the magic marker, you couldn't see the hint until you went over it with your marker.
Right.
That's what I thought was brilliant about it, because it didn't ruin the game for you. You didn't accidentally see something you didn't want to see.
Exactly. Yeah, but the magic markers were expensive. I don't know if any of these have that.
This one does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, I'll be darned. Yeah,
And I think which one had the lens, the red lens? Because we got called all the time in tech support saying, I lost my little.
Like one of the Space Quest games had the red lens.
This might have one.
This is Sierra Online Incorporated soft porn. And when I think of soft porn, I think of Lowe. So
What?
yeah, we all have our fantasies. So tell me
I think
about
of
soft porn.
Showtime usually, or Cinemax, but
I don't pay for
this was a game that Chuck Benton wrote early on because he wanted to buy an Apple II. Or he bought an Apple II. He wanted to use it for database programming.
Okay.
And he wasn't sure that it was robust
Database
enough
programming.
to do that. So he said, well, what's a little program I could knock out quick,
Okay.
and see whether it works by having, the program in one drive and the data disk in another drive. And so he said, well, I could write a little adventure game and just to have the data, be moved back and forth and stuff.
Okay.
So he quickly knocked out a program that tested his database skills,
Okay.
and was a huge success. He took it to a bunch of publishers. They all said, oh no, we can't sell that. It's about somebody having sex. It's 1980 or 79 maybe. We can't do that. And so, but he got it to Ken, and Ken loved the game. He thought it was hilarious.
This says so much about Ken, really.
Exactly. And so he said, well, I'll publish it. And it was the biggest hit that Sierra had at a time when Apple had sold 100,000 Apple IIs. Ken had sold 25,000 copies of soft porn.
Wow.
So 1 in 4
We're pouring it up on their apples.
except everybody I knew had a pirated version of this. So you could say you could say that Chuck achieved 100% market penetration.
I know we're talking about soft porn, and the innuendos are just.
I'm sorry,
There's everything I could do to.
I can't stop it. The games just write themselves.
Well, we had to knock up this game. We have full market penetration.
So this was also famous in another way because when Time Magazine started covering home computer systems, they had a one-page article about home computers, and the first part was about managing your money or something, but the illustration and the whole second part of the story was about soft porn, and featured the cover photograph, which was pretty famous. Now you got to remember, back in 1979 80, Sierra was a couple of people.
Right.
There wasn't anybody like a big staff or anybody around. So somebody said, well, we need a cover shot. Well, Ken's got a hot tub. Let's pose in the hot tub. And so we'll get some good-looking women, and get them in the hot tub, and we'll get the guy who's the waiter down at the local restaurant, because he had a tuxedo. So they got him in a tuxedo top, and I think he was just wearing swimming suits underneath. But anyway, and they had him with an Apple II on a tray, which made no sense at all, man. But anyway, there was this famous photograph that appeared in Time magazine of these 3 naked women on the cover of this game. Well, that didn't hurt sales at all.
No.
Yeah. And legend has it that one of those women was Roberta Williams, who later went on to great fame and fortune as a game designer, and will always swear that nobody got a picture that showed anything.
Okay, so you said legend has it.
Yes.
Can you confirm or deny that, Senator?
Sure, of course, I'll confirm it, because there were many copies, and I have a copy of the original. I don't have the little box edition. The very first one that came out was in the small,
right?
What is that, 5x8 or something? But I did get the. It would be 9x12 box, the large box edition, and I have it someplace, or I threw it away. I hope not, but anyway, I had it, and Ultima 2 and Time Zone and all those games that were big back then. One of the big things that got me excited about going into software was the first day that I met Ken. He said, well, come on by the booth and I'll give you a copy of everything we publish. And it was like, what? Wow! Okay. Well, that's what I want. I want free games.
Not a lot has changed today.
No, exactly.
Not a lot of things have changed.
That made a huge impression on me. With that, I can get software for free
and porn, soft porn.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, the funny part of the game is that there's not really much dirty in it, other than the goal. I mean, the goal is you're a virgin and you're trying to lose your virginity. But it was a game that was Chuck would be the first to admit, I'm sure, he did not go at it as a game. It was more of a test,
right?
And
not unlike trying to get laid,
right?
Yeah,
well, yeah, that's true. But what I mean is that nobody QA'd it. Nobody went back through and said, how in the hell was I supposed to know to type that?
Uh-huh.
You know, it was all, well, if you type the right things, you can get through it. But I defy anybody today to go through that game without a walkthrough. Yeah, without a walkthrough.
Uh-oh.
Because it's, I mean, if you want, you can download a copy of this from allow.com. I mean, I've got it on the website.
Oh, dear.
It was...
I can see the comments already.
It was done by a guy who took Chuck's original code and pirated it. Took all the text out of the game, extracted all the text, and then wrote his own code for the IBM PC because Chuck wrote it for the Apple II.
Okay.
He never did a PC translation. And so Gary, I believe was his name, Gary Thompson, wrote a whole game himself using the text from this, and wrote Chuck and said, "Hey, do you mind if I give this away?" And he said, "I don't care. It was nothing to me." So anyway, I have a copy of the original soft porn on allo.com.
Awesome. I'm going to go and play Lowe's personal copy of soft porn. Yeah. I'll glove up. Okay, start again. I hit the wrong button.
This is my box full of archival copies of the source code and the original artwork and everything from the Larry games. This is 1 and 2, and you can see it got much bigger for Larry 3, and I even got Larry 5 to fit on in 2 boxes, and the VGA version of Larry 1, which came out at the same time as these. So this is the all the original stuff, and I backed everything up because I knew that Sierra didn't. And I thought if something happened in the future, I need to go back and refer to the original code. So everything is in these discs, I believe, to make a game if you had the right tools. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the things that we wrote were in regular text files. So they're certainly readable nowadays. But the tools that interpreted that code or turned it into interpretive code or may not be there. I don't know. We had a compiler and we had an interpreter, and the game engine used both of those. So.
Wow.
So go ahead and pause there. I definitely want to take. We'll open this one up just to show what is. So, actually, yeah. Go ahead and just. If you wouldn't mind just opening it up and spreading those discs out so people could see, that I'll show while you're talking.
Well, this has the very rare Sunnyside Soft return address mailing shipping label on the box. I don't know why that's on there, but here's what I've got in here, and it says, "Oh, look at that! I could zip then." This is a later version that I stuck in here because that zip wasn't around back in those days, and that's the latest version. So that's the one I think that's the master disc. I would suspect. No, Shipmaster. That would be the shipping master. So this is the one that I built the game on. This is the master, and here's the source code. And what's that say? Words and objects. Yeah. And views was our name for animation. Why we called it views, I have no idea. But you got to remember, we were inventing vocabulary as we invented the games. Nobody knew that what you call, like our background art was always, instead of a screen or background, it was called a pic. So you had pic and you had views, and there's the pics and the sounds, and the sound source code. And that's clearly dated. Look at that. June of 87. Metal.
Okay, you ready?
Oh, are you rolling?
We're rolling. Okay, Al, this has been...
Hey, we're back.
We're back. This has been really, really awesome. And gotta say, man, you're one of my favorite programmers ever. And not just because I shared a picture of the girls in Leisure Suit Larry 7 across all of tech support and almost got fired over it. Ha! You didn't know that, did you, Brad? That was me. Anyway, this is the kind of the crown jewel of all the stuff we've seen today. I'm really excited to hear about these. You tell me about those bad boys.
Well, in the summer of 1982, I had never programmed a game in my life. I had never done any computer graphics, but went to a convention of computer educators, and I saw how primitive the state of the industry was, and I said, well, I could do better than that. So I went home and bought the first graphics package that was commercially available. It was from a guy named Mark Pelzarski, ran a company called Penguin Software out of Illinois. He was another old school teacher who was transitioning, and he produced this graphics routine called Graphics Magician, and you could load it into high mem on your Apple II, and then through subroutines you could do a fancy call and then feed it some images, and it would draw a picture on the Apple II screen.
Okay.
And that's what I used to make Dragon's Keep. That was the first game I ever did.
This is the first game you ever did, ever?
This is the first game I ever did, and this is the packaging that we used. This is a genuine plastic baggie from the Bradley Bag Company of Los Angeles. We had to order those.
Wow.
And that's a piece of index card stock that we folded in half, and it just was made to fit right inside it. And we also had pre-printed postcards inside there, and the floppy disks that we copied ourselves on my neighbor's pool table.
So this is
we set up an Apple II, opened the lid of it, directed an electric fan at it, and put in 5 disk drive cards and pairs of disk drives. So as fast as we could move the discs into the drive, the first one was copied and we took them out. So we ended up producing hundreds of games in one evening on my friend's table.
So this is the original packaging. You didn't just
This
down
is
to
the
Safeway
original packaging.
Wow, can I take it out?
I don't know. You'll let out the factory air.
Oh, no. I'm full of factory air. Trust me on this. I'd be happy to put some back in.
Yeah, no, these were, we sold these out of our house. And in fact, I think my home address is on there. Yeah, see down there? 5815, is that it? Yeah, East Parkside Drive.
Fresno. Nobody goes to Fresno.
Yeah, I did.
I was just down in Fresno about a year ago doing martial arts training. Check this out.
Yeah.
Dragon.
And I had to go to a print shop and typeset all that material. The woman I had to give her typed copy, and then she would type it up, and then I would go back to her, and I would find her mistakes and fix her, whatever thing. And it was WYSIWYG -1, version 1.
Wow. Typesetting.
No,
You're going to have to Google that, youngins.
Yeah.
Wow, this is stunning. I mean, these are the very first games Aldo ever programmed, and you're letting these go, right?
These are pre-Sierra.
Pre-Sierra games.
Actually, when Ken and Roberta saw these games at a trade show, that's when my relationship with Sierra started. Was we were selling these little bags.
Wow.
And
Genesis. This is Genesis. Wow, that is just so cool.
And so Ken said, well, if we want to start an educational, I want you to be the foundation of my educational game division. And so he bought these 2 games plus a third game that I was working on at the time called Troll's Tale, which never got a plastic baggie because I didn't finish this in time. Until Ken had already taken the company. But yeah, these 2 are from Sunnyside Soft.
Wow,
that was our company in Sunnyside,
amazing,
Fresno.
Well, we could go on for days and days and days going.
We already have.
Stuff. Yeah. That's what editing's for, my friend.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I really want to thank you for sharing this with us and showing us all your cool stuff. And you and I have got to have a bourbon and a stogie sometime.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the innumerable Al Lowe. Cheers, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.